Broadcasting from Watts Creative Studios and live on Grove Street FM, you're listening to Talk Local to Me, brought to you by the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Good afternoon. We are back with Talk Local to Me. For those of you who don't know, we broadcast here in the fabulous Watts Creative Studios, and we are available wherever you listen to your podcast. So if you have listened to a couple of episodes of Talk Local to Me and you think, I cannot live another week without hearing this every Wednesday, and that's what you should be doing. Make sure that you are, going to Spotify or Apple or, again, wherever you get your podcasts and subscribing to Talk Local to Me so you do not miss an episode. We put out some great stuff with some great businesses in our area. And, there's times too that we're just bringing information to you for small businesses, for the community, things that, you may be able to use in your everyday life. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there real quick at you this Wednesday afternoon. What is it like? We have so much going on this week. My brain is kind of fried. We're going to be hosting our annual business awards dinner. I know y'all have heard me talking about that for the last couple weeks. That is going to happen tomorrow evening at the lovely West Manor Estate here in Forest, Virginia. And we have a fabulous keynote speaker coming, Alex Sheen. He runs the movement or the nonprofit Because I Said I Would. He's coming in from California and going to be talking about promises made and kept, the importance of, making a promise and keeping that promise, and how that affects you in your everyday life, how that affects you in your business, how that affects, your employees, everything around you. When you make a promise, who are you disappointing when you break that promise? Was it yourself? Is it someone else? There's all kinds of wonderful things we're going to be able to learn from him tomorrow evening. And I'm also excited to be giving out the business awards to our Central Virginia Business Coalition members that have been nominated in 8 different categories. Then we also have our Citizen of the Year Award and our Volunteer of the Year Award. And it's just going to be a fabulous night, great food, great company. And, but again, a lot of craziness ensuing getting up to that point. So we also are going to be kicking off our silent auction. We do that every year. It's about a 2-week long silent auction that we run online. Lots of fabulous gifts from local vendors. And we're going to be putting the link up on our website, Facebook pages, also on our Talk Local to Me page for you guys. It'll kick off this afternoon. We've got I think I've got like 30 items actually up on the site. We've got well over 60 some donations. So I'm steadily working and plugging along and getting those up and on there. But wanted to also bring up, we have an event coming up in April. If you are hiring, if you are looking for a job, you're going to want to mark these 2 dates on your calendar. April 12th and April 14th. So April 12th, we are going to be having a job fair in the Lynchburg area at the Hilton Garden Inn right off of Wards Road. And we are still looking for anyone who is hiring that wants to have a booth there, wants to put up information about the jobs they have available. And then, of course, if you are out there listening and you're thinking, I need to come look for a job, we're going to want to see you there from 10 to 2 on April the 12th. Then on the 14th, we are going to be having another job fair in Roanoke at the Build Smart Institute. Same rules apply. If you'd like a booth, contact us. And if you're looking for a position out in that area, that section of our region, then you're going to want to be out there on April 14th. And, we're doing these because we're trying to bring some value to our region. I mean, if you're looking for a job or if you're hiring in Central Virginia, Southwest Virginia, anywhere in that area, we want you to be there, and we want to, help you get some new employees, help you get a job, help the community and the economy and all those fabulous things. So you can contact me at heather@cvabc.org, and I can get you the information to sign up if you're interested in a booth space. They're $50, so not too much, and that includes your table and everything at the job fair. So I also want to say breaking news. Y'all know, for a very long time, there was me, myself, and I employed at the CVABC. I lost my fabulous events director, Diane, back in August of last year, I think. It was probably August, and I still miss her desperately. But we have since then grown our team. We have our new director of membership, Andrea Plunkett, and our events and membership assistant, Autumn Myers. But I will also be making an announcement on Monday. We have hired our next events director. So I'm so excited. We are going to have a full staff of 4 people. I have people, everyone. I'm so excited just to have people. It's a blessing. It's hard to learn to take stuff off my plate and give it to others because I'm just so used to carrying it all. But it is so nice, and having new ideas coming across the table, people to kind of help keep me organized, because everyone knows, Lord forbid, Heather is not organized or on time. So all these great things are coming through with the Central Virginia Business Coalition, and I'm just excited to share that with you guys, and just for the rest of this year, all the great things that are going to be happening. So with all of that being said, today I am here with, we're going to be talking about local arts today, the art scene. We've had people come on, service providers and, different small businesses. And today we are going to be focusing on the arts. And I have with me Cheryl Carter with the Renaissance Theater. She's the president of the board of directors of the Renaissance Theater in Lynchburg. Hello.
Hello.
So I am really happy to have Cheryl. First of all, if you've never met her, you're a ball of energy. I love talking with you. You're so animated about, when we speak about different things, especially the theater. And I'm hoping, you guys are going to hear some of that as we speak today. But tell us a little bit, just to start off, what is the Renaissance Theater? Where is it? All of those, great details.
Well, Renaissance Theater, and we're just thrilled to be able to come over and talk to you about it, because one of the reasons I'm so animated most of the time about this is because theater is a passion of mine. I have been involved with theater since I was a wee little girl, and most people who get involved in local community theater, that is what it's about, because we're a volunteer organization. Renaissance was incorporated in 1988, so that makes us the longest running volunteer community theater in Lynchburg. And we are constituted of a whole bunch of people who just are really devoted to the idea of making the arts available to everybody in the community. And currently we have partnered with the Lynchburg Parks and Recreation. So we are the theater in residence at the Grove Street Miller Center, Community Center, which is just great synergy. And we are there and we do 5 shows a year. Typically, this year we have another partnership that we're doing, which is with the Academy. I'll get into a little bit more about that in a little bit, but we've got a great season planned at Miller Center. And in that partnership, we also do outreach and help Lynchburg Parks and Rec with their programming. So personally, I do an interactive children's story time every other month called Storybook Theater for preschool age kids. And we've been having a lot of fun with that. Next one will be in April, and we're going to be talking about books. And and then we've got other things coming up. We're actually helping them with, they're doing a fairy tea party at the aviary this Saturday. So we have some of our volunteers are going to be over there to be fairies and play with the kids and tell them a story while they're having their tea party. And there's a bunch of other things coming up that you'll see us pop up at. Last fall, we did the Sanderson sisters for their haunted trail. Mm-hmm. And that was a hoot, because I was Winifred and we had Emily Robinson came. She was Sarah Sanderson, and we had a wonderful girl named Calliope be Mary. And we all sang "I Put a Spell on You" 15 times over the course of 2 evenings. It was 30 times total, but over the course of 2 evenings, every time a group came up, "I put a spell on you." It was great. They had this old tree. We had the ball. And that's what we do. You can do these little things that don't require a huge time commitment, whereas a play, of course, requires 6 to 8 weeks or more time commitment. So there's lots of opportunities to do that kind of thing if you don't have the time to do a full play.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're listening today, and I think I've said it before because I've had Susan Martin in here with the Bauer Center of the Arts here in Bedford.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not aware of the thriving arts community that we have in Lynchburg, Bedford area, you really need to look into it. We have some wonderful talent between the opera on the James, the Lynchburg Symphonies, the Renaissance Theater, the Bauer Center. I mean, there are just so many opportunities for you to get out the academy, get out and just learn more about the arts. And I hear some people are like, oh, I'm not about the arts. You don't know until you try it. I know that Cheryl and I spoke when she came into our office a few weeks ago. They're at the Grove Street Theater. Well, that place holds near and dear to my heart because they used to have, that's where they used to host the Folly Stick Theater at many moons ago when I was younger. And I was in quite a few plays at the Folly Stick Theater and in the Grove Street Theater there off of Miller Street. So I love that theater particularly just because I spent a lot of my summers there, a lot of my after school time learning and not even just that, but I started getting more into like ceramics and pottery, and they used to do all those fabulous things there at the Grove Street Theater. So
yeah, sure. And that's one of the things that when we moved to Grove Street that Renaissance took on too, is that we made it a commitment that we would do at least one youth adult centered production a season. So that would mean it's not a kids play. So it's not just a play that's aimed with just having all kids in it.
right.
Our area schools have that covered in spades. You got all your high schools
Oh, yes.
have great programs. You got EC Glass, Heritage Pioneer, you got Cavalier Theater,
Mhm.
you got the Dunbar Theater connection with the kind of middle school kids.
Yes.
They're wonderful over there, and they are training up these great talented kids. And they can come out and do the community theater or move on and go to college or go out and see what they can do in the
Mhm.
world. And that's what community theater for us is too. It's a training ground.
Mhm.
And then when you do the youth adult productions, that gives these kids an opportunity to work with adults who've been doing it a long time or adults who are just doing it for the first time
Yes.
too and learning from each other. And that's so great. You get this family feel that starts to develop, help and helping each other figure it all out. The other thing is there's not just performing. I mean, we've got kids who are learning how to do the technical stuff.
Right.
Lighting, sound, props, backstage costume and makeup, all those things that go into the whole production that the audience doesn't realize how much work and training
Mhm.
you have to do to have that all covered. And so we have a couple of actually productions this year that kids can have an opportunity in. We'll be doing Anne of Green Gables in June, so that's going to audition in April, and that's a wonderful story. Of course, it's a little girl heavy, but we have there's opportunities for a couple of older adults. And then there's all the girls, there's a couple of boy parts. It's the shorter version in the sense that it's got a smaller cast. It's not huge cast. It's about 13. But we'll be looking for those kids in April to come audition. And then our final one this year is called Step on a Crack. That'll be in November. And that has an opportunity for a younger actress because that's about a little girl named Ellie who's learning to deal with a new stepmother, and she uses her imagination, and it's a great story about from a kid's view perspective of having to accept a new adult in their life as a parental figure, which is so relatable to the community. And that's another one of the things we were trying to do this year. We've got some titles people might not have heard so much about because there's all the great shows that you know about. And we see those and we love those and they're great shows. But there's also wonderful, wonderful stories that don't get play because, you just want to make sure that people will come and see you.
Right.
So a named play makes, I know this show. I'm going to come see it. And I don't know that show. Should I go see it? Well, we're doing a show in our next show after Kiss Me Kate, which is at the Academy. That's coming up this weekend. That's a huge, big musical, and I'll get back to that in a second. But after that, we're doing a show called The Tin Woman. It's currently in rehearsal, and that's going to be shown in April. It's coming up April. It opens April 15th, and that is about a woman who has a heart transplant, and then she she has trouble like accepting that and dealing with that. And then she ends up getting to meet her donor's family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny and it's dramatic and it's poignant and it's speaking about how that gift of life can affect people. And we've got folks in our community that will relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing it in April to help raise awareness about organ donation, because April's Organ Donation Awareness Month. So that's kind of been the mission of Renaissance since we moved in 2020 to the Miller Center, is to try to bring shows to the community and reach out and make all kinds of aspects of how the arts can touch all these different things to the community. So that's we're really excited about that. And then, of course, Kiss Me, Kate.
Yes. Excuse me. And I'm really glad you brought up the high schools in our area, because I have seen just a flourish, and that's what helps to build your community theater, is all of these kids that are learning and coming in. And I am a product of Jim Ackley at EC Glass. Like I got to be with the best, one of the best, I say, in our area. But one of the reasons I kind of can do what I do today. I know a lot of people say, oh, Heather loves to talk. Heather doesn't have any issue getting up, in front of people. That's one of the reasons why, because I was I acted and I got that, familiarity with being in front of people as I was younger. And I think that is, it's really big for people and their self-esteem, for children to get up there if they have stage fright. I mean, I'm not saying throw them out on stage and just make them do it, but I think for those that, your kids are wanting that or they're craving that, please make sure that they're getting in touch with some of the local, arts in our area.
Well, if you develop that as a young person, if you develop the ability to speak in front of people and to speak extemporaneously and such, that helps you in business, that helps you in all aspects of your life, because you can be the person who's running the meeting. You can be the person, if you work, in public speaking or with the public at all, to be able to talk to different people. And you get to meet so many different types of personalities in the arts that you learn and develop that sense of how to talk to different people and relate to them, it just can help you everywhere in your life, it's just, the arts brings so many things out of people. It can be a haven for people. It can be a place to grow your talent. And it can be community and family. Mm-hmm. As a volunteer organization, we are such a family here at Renaissance. And people who come and be part of Renaissance, once you're in a Renaissance show or you volunteered to help with us, you're part of that family now. And you can always come back and you can always come in the door and we're going to be like, yay, you're here. And have that warm feeling. And that's what we're striving to keep going constantly, mm-hmm. and keep it alive. It's been here since 88. We don't want this to just, disappear. So we've all worked very hard to keep going, and we want to see it continue for many years to come. So if you want to volunteer with Renaissance, we love to have new people come in.
So let's talk a little bit about Kiss Me, Kate.
Yes,
let's get into Kiss Me, Kate. So
there's a lot to get into.
So let's, when is Kiss Me, Kate? And then let's kind of get into all the ins and outs of the show itself.
So Kiss Me, Kate opens this weekend. So we have performances on March 18th and 19th. That's Friday and Saturday, that begin at 7:30 p.m. And then March 19th and 20th, that's Saturday and Sunday, we have 2 matinees at 2 p.m. that begin at 2 p.m. You have only 4 chances to see this show, directed by the wonderful Mr. Jim Ackley. And we have a wonderful production team on it. It's going to be held on the historic stage at the Academy Theater, which will be Renaissance's debut there. So we're super excited about that. You can get your tickets at academycenter.org or by calling their box office at 434-846-8499. Or you can go to the Renaissance website, which is renaissancetheaterlynchburg.org. And there's a button right on the opening page that links directly to tickets for Kiss Me, Kate. And it's theater with an RV, so we're fancy. We're theatre. So it's renaissancetheatre.org and theaterlynchburg.org. And I got to stick that Lynchburg in there, man. But yeah, this is a huge cast. And we've got so many different diverse people in the cast, which is exactly what we're talking about with, mm-hmm. community theater. You've got people in this show ranging from the age of, our youngest person is 16 and the oldest person is 76.
Oh, wow.
And we've got folks that are here from Lynchburg and as far away as Charlotte County and from all the surrounding counties. There's over 30 people in the cast, young people, dancers, singers. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of people. We've got people from Lynchburg University, University of Lynchburg, Liberty University, Sweetbriar, EC Glass, Jefferson Forest, Brookville, LCA, adults and people who've been doing theater in the area for years. It's wonderful. We've got, it's been a huge collaborative effort to bring this, because this show was originally attempted it was supposed to go up in 2019, I believe. And then, of course, the party hit, and it got put on the back burner, and then they tried again, and then there was a resurgence. But what's amazing is the original production team of Jim Ackley and Ronnie Brady and Sumner. Sumner is our musical director, and I'm sorry, Sumner, I can't remember your last name. Sumner, I think it's Jenkins. Anyway, they all stayed together, and they had a vision to do this show, and they're still on the production team. They pushed it. And when we got to this point, the Academy, with the original partnership that they were going to do it under, they had redone it, and they've come up with a whole new thing. And so we're the first ones to do this Partners in Performance, and they needed a community theater. So they, Jim gave us a call and had a chat with Renaissance and said, would you be interested in trying to do this? And we were like, wow, of course, thank you. And so it's just been huge, and everybody has just done everything to make it a possibility. And there's been we've had so many wonderful donors to help make it a possibility. And the Academy has been, really good about trying to make it work for us. Because, they're a venue that people come in and do shows and leave. They're not,
Right.
They're performance space. They don't really have a lot of wherewithal to build and mount a whole production there. So we've had cooperation. Our set was built at EC Glass. We built this entire set, which is like this 14, 15 foot tall set. It is amazing. And that was built at EC Glass. And then we had to move it from there to the Academy. We did the move on Saturday. Then we reconstructed the set on Sunday. And then we have Tech Week. And then we have to take the whole set down and get it out of there on Sunday after the matinee. And that's volunteerism right there, folks, because nobody's getting paid to do this. So we've had cast members and other people come in. And so they did that. Pioneer Theater at Heritage helped us out with pieces so that we wouldn't have to spend so much money on things like platforms. So they came in and helped us with that. And some of their folks over there came and helped build. And it's just been, that kind of cooperation, you can't beat it.
It's such a collaborative effort
It
between
is.
so many different. It's like, you have all these pieces to a puzzle, and watching them all fit into place, and having it come from different areas is it's great. Now, for those of us, or for anyone listening that may not know the story behind Kiss Me Kate, what is Kiss Me Kate about?
So Kiss Me Kate is a Cole Porter musical, and it's about the production of a musical version of Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, and it's the conflict on and off stage between the show's director, producer and star, and then his ex-wife leading lady, okay? And then they're also the stars of the Shrew side of the story. And then there's another romance that concerns an actress playing Bianca and her gambler boyfriend, and like shenanigans ensue, and then you end up with gangsters involved. And so you've got two stories here. And Kiss Me Kate premiered in 1948 and was awarded the first Tony Award for Best Musical. And there's songs in here that you don't realize you probably know from Kiss Me Kate. Too Darned Hot is an example.
Okay.
A lot of people are familiar with that song. Wunderbar is in this musical. So, but Too Darned Hot is really one that a lot of people really know. And that's a great dance number choreographed by Ronnie Brady. But it's had 4 Broadway revivals, and each one's been very successful. And so that's what it's about. You've got your side, which is the cast behind the scenes. That's like 1940 version. And then you turn it around, and then this is the production that they're putting on, which is the Taming of the Shrew, which is a musical version of that. And so there's all that subcontext, because you got these two couples that are couples in the Shrew side of the story, but also couples or potential couples on the 1940, 50 side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a lot of stuff going on, and it's funny, and it's just full of a lot of really great stuff. And speaking of the two sides of the story, costuming that. So you've got 30 odd people,
Right.
and you have to costume not only for late 1940s, early 1950s, but the shrews, the medieval side of the story.
Okay.
So that's like completely different sets of costumes, two completely different eras. So you're trying to do that, and we were able to source professionally designed costumes constructed by the Marriott Regional Theater in Chicago for the Taming of the Shrew side. So we've got these amazing costumes, and our costume mistress, Barbara Deniszewski, was just amazing, because you get them in and you have to make them, you have to make them fit everybody, and and then you got to source all the other stuff. And I'm going to tell you, couldn't have done that aspect of this show without all of her hard work. So I'm going to shout out to her and say thank you so much, because she used to be the costume person that was at the Fine Arts Center. So she's got all this experience from way back in the day when she ran the Fine Arts Center costume shop. So we were so fortunate to be able to get her to bring her talent and her experience to this show. And then, of course, Jim Ackley, who has this vision and brings this all together. And, it's just been an amazing team.
I couldn't even imagine having to do costumes for that many people. I mean, then again, I don't sew anyway. My husband does all the sewing at home, so I have to say that much.
So I'm the president of the board of Renaissance, but I also do the I wear many hats and spin many plates, as I'm sure you can relate to. I started out at Renaissance helping out with costumes besides acting. So I was doing costumes there initially, helping out, and then I took on helping with marketing, and then I ended up on the board, and then now I'm like, this was not ever a place I thought I'd be, but I am now president of the board. Okay,
that's how it happens.
Hello.
Once you walk in, once you get in there, they just pull you in. It's
yeah. It was like, okay. So, but I do understand costuming, and nothing's better than being somebody who's in charge of costumes but doesn't sew. I do not really sew. I MacGyver. I'm the queen of taking something and making it work with a pin or a piece of scotch tape or duct tape or double-sided. It's amazing what you can do in the fly in a minute. And pins and whatnot. So I'm really good at that. And I'm really good at seeing a vision and sourcing stuff. But to be able to take a costume that came in and you need to either bring it down to size or bring it out a size, I can't do that. So I need people like that to be able to help us with these kinds of things. And she is that person. And we have other wonderful people who sew, who are on our board or who are volunteers, and they come and help us too. Last year when we did the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I mean, we had to costume all these kids in to look like animals in furs and things like that, and not have them look like cave people. And so it was amazing though, how you can bring it together with a little imagination. And that's something people learned, and so we've got people who come and start out in theater and then decide they want to be like fashion designers because they start to develop that creativity in clothing. So there's all kinds of ways you can grow if you have a basis in the arts and in theater.
Now, you mentioned having a large cast for this production.
Yes.
How difficult is that to coordinate, like the direction of 30 some cast members in with the range that you were saying in ages? Do all of them have the background in theater, or any of them kind of just stepping up to the plate as a new, this is new for them?
Right. We have a couple of people who've never been in a show before, and this is their first experience. Okay. And then we've got people who've been in so many shows, that the list, if you looked at their bio, will go for, 3 pages because they've just been doing it forever. Like me, if I can't even remember all the shows I've been in because I've just been doing it forever. But there's about a third of the cast making their community theater debut.
Oh, that's great.
And a couple who've also just never been in a play period before. So it's really a great opportunity for these guys. And it's sometimes it's like herding cats, because you're just trying to keep everybody together.
Right.
But again, it comes down to trying to keep that positive, collaborative mindset. When you're doing these kinds of things, especially Tech Week, they refer to Tech Week quite often as, HE double hockey sticks week because it's a rough week.
Right.
You have late nights. you get your orchestra. We have a like I think it's an 11-piece orchestra that's doing the music for this. It's not by tracks. We've got a live orchestra down there, and so you have them in for their first night. It's always going to be rough. It's always going to be a late night. These kids and folks, they rehearsed at St. Paul's Episcopal Church, which I also want to mention because they gave us rehearsal space. So generous. And so they've been rehearsing in a completely different space. And then they get dropped into the academy. You got to find your way around, learn wear your costume, where do you dress? Where do you do this? Where do you do that? And there's this stage and these beautiful, I'm on the stage and look at all the seats. And so now you got to kind of calm that down and let's focus on what we're doing. And then you've got these massive sets that this cast is also not only acting and singing and dancing, but they're helping move the sets because it's just huge. And so that's a lot to adjust to. You're just adding a piece every night and you've only got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we got an audience Friday. So it's a lot to pull together in that short a time. And these guys, you just kind of keep that positivity going and you get tired, take a breath. That's why we're here. We're here to have fun. And they're doing a great job of that, and Jim does a great job and the production team does a great job of kind of keeping that mindset going. Sometimes you got to say, hey, if you leave your prop where it doesn't belong and I pick it up, you don't get it back till you give me $1. You give me $1.
There you go.
You give me $1. So, but it's just little things like that are sort of funny, but they help keep people focused. But this group has been excellent at that. And I think they all get the vision and they get the fact, this is what we have to do to bring it together. And it's going to be an amazing show this weekend. Do not miss your chance to come see it.
So looking at we were talking about some of the other shows you had going on for this year. I'm sure you are already planning 2023. Do y'all have to start looking ahead of time? How do you vet like which shows you're going to do each year? Is that something that people like come to you and say, hey, we have this, or do you go out looking for different things?
We are always looking for different things. And I'm really glad you brought that up because with everything that has been going on with getting ready for Kiss Me Kate, one of the things we are getting ready to do is put that out there to the public that we're looking for directors who have a show they might be interested in doing. Reach out, let us know. We are beginning the process of choosing next year's season because we do have to get it chosen and you have to purchase rights. You can't even announce a show until you have already acquired the rights, which means you typically have to pay a certain amount of money before you can even say you're doing a show. Right. So you have to really think forward. And we have a new director to Renaissance. Caleb Towns will be directing Tin Woman, the next show, which we're really excited about. And we want to give directors an opportunity. So if there's a show that you're interested in directing, folks who are in college right now who are learning how to direct and want to have an opportunity to do something, or, we've had people do internships and you could be a director and have it be part of your internship. Come to us. Email Renaissance Theater. You can find that on our website. Let us know you're interested. And if you're in the public and you have a show that you'd love to see us try to put on, let us know your thoughts because we want to make the public happy. We want to be able to have our folks who want to come see the shows do stuff that gets them excited. And then we want to be able to give opportunity to folks who want to direct because you got to learn. And community theater is about learning too. So if you got to be able to let go and let somebody who hasn't done something maybe before, but has the training or has, I've been doing theater all my life. I had never personally directed a show until last fall when I directed Over the River and Through the Woods. And even that was a very collaborative directing effort and that's what we do. If you're a brand new director and you're just giving it a go and you're nervous about it, you're surrounded by people who know what needs to happen and can help you. But it's your vision and we want to help you make your vision come to life on the stage. And the only real potential issues are, just the limitations of a stage or the particular area you're in. Miller Center Stage is a great stage, but there's certain things you have to know about whether or not is it going to be able to stage a certain show.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
You know, so you have, or if you're going to try to stage a show that might be like, ooh, how are we going to make it work on that stage? You got to be able to come to us with the idea. I know how I can make this work. And we'll be like, oh, okay, you show us how you can make it work, and we'll be all for it.
Right.
So, you know, because then that creativity is what you're trying to grow.
Right.
So
I love that. And that's, again, I always say this. I love having people on the show because I learn something every single time. You know, in my mindset, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, you have these professional directors that come in and do this. I did not realize that. I think that's an excellent opportunity for someone, especially like you were saying, college students, or, you know, someone just trying to get their toe in the door and things like that. And you're right. You think of community theater and it should be a learning experience. And I think that's fabulous.
I mean, community theater, I mean, there's places sometimes where people go, community theater maybe isn't as, you know, professional in air quotes, you know, but it absolutely can be. And that's because you have a lot of people who may not be paid professionals at this, but have been doing it for a long time. I am 57 years old, and I have been doing theater since I got up and started walking and talking. Mm-hmm. I do not have a degree in theater, but you want amount of production, I can tell you how to do it. And right. I can get it done because I know who to call. I might not know how to do a certain thing, but I know who to get. I know how to source. It's like any other event planning sort of thing. It's this massive event.
Yep.
And it's got a million moving parts. And when you learn those parts and know how to, you know, bring those folks together, you don't have to have a degree in theater to direct. There's some of the best and most creative people I've ever met, never had a degree in theater, but had just wonderful ideas and talent that they just didn't have an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So this is an opportunity. I mean, you know, not everybody can go to New York or Atlanta or LA and produce a movie or be on Broadway, but you can learn and grow your skills and build that resume and be able to, if that's what your goal is, have that on your resume already. Mm-hmm. You know, as I said, I never expected in my life to be president of the board of a community theater that was that's over 30 years old almost now, 88. I'm bad at math, but you know, I never would have thought in a million years I'd be doing this. But we have been, I mean, in the middle of COVID, we put on 5 shows last year successfully. We are still plugging ahead. We moved. We found a new partnership. We've just, and it's not me. It's all the people. It's the community of people that wanted to keep Renaissance Theater going with everything that happened with COVID in 2020. And these people had a passion. It was going to happen and stay alive. And they've worked so hard. And I'm really proud of these people and what they've accomplished. And I really want to see, as a board member, you know, I can only be on the board for so many years. All the board people can only be on the board for so many years. So there has to be people who still have that passion, who if you want to see community theater and Renaissance theater continue into the future, mm-hmm. we need these younger people, because I'm 57 and I'm tired. I'm getting old. But but I'm still plugging. But you know, younger people need to be encouraged to come and be part of it and develop that passion. Because, you know, you put a lot of work into this and you're not paid for it. So you got it. I mean, you know, the amount of work this involves is it's not small. It's right. A commitment. But people do it because they love it.
So let's talk about, you just kind of segued right into my next question. Let's talk about what it takes to put on community theater. So let's talk about the what can people out there that are listening, I'm sure donations, volunteering, what are some things that people that want to help keep community theater going? Maybe they don't want to necessarily be an actor or, mm-hmm. you know, behind the scenes or directing, but how can they help to support the Renaissance Theater in our area?
Helping to support Renaissance. Well, with our move, you know, we had a lot of great things happen, and then we have a couple of things that became challenges for us. We could use eventually a space that could be, right now, everything that is our theater is in storage units. And when we build a set, we can't like build a set in the Miller Center. So we have to have a space to build the set, put it together, get it ready to move in. And we've been kind of fandangling that, you know, in the last year. We've been managing it, but in a perfect world, we will find ourselves another space that we can live in and have our offices in and our our building and our costume shop and all of that. So you're not trying to fandangle around a storage unit when you're looking for costumes and things like that. And maybe eventually a performance space that would be a performance space that is like ours. So, but we would still probably maintain our relationship with Parks and Rec as well, because it's just been working so well.
Mm-hmm.
But that would also then free the stage up for other production companies to get to use the stage, because right now we kind of, have a monopoly on it as the live-in resident theater. But I mean, that's down the road, but that is something we have to build towards. Patronage, people who just come to the shows. If you want to donate towards we're going to start probably a capital campaign fund in the next year with that long-term goal in mind. And that we need help always with backstage technical. You want to learn how to do lights and sound? It's a board, it's pushing buttons and learning how to do that. Designing lights, how to make the lights look good for what we want to do. These are things you could learn in school if you go to school for it, or you can start to just learn from doing it at community theater. There's always the need for people to work backstage, helping with costumes, helping build sets, helping a volunteer coordinator would be lovely. I would love to have somebody who wanted to come in and help us coordinate folks who are interested in doing things so that we can call the right people when we need something done. We're currently looking, I do marketing, but I would love to have somebody who would be interested to help us with social media. I am really good at Facebook. I'm old and not so good at the Insta. So I'm trying to learn the Instagram, the old IG there. But, the younger folks are so much better at that than I am. And I would love somebody who could handle that for us,
It's funny. I did a TikTok the other day because I'm trying to learn the whole TikTok thing.
Oh, the TikTok.
And my afterwards, my daughter was like, I'm not sure that you understand TikTok.
That's not how it works.
And I'm like, whatever.
I just started playing with that myself. So and I'm trying to figure out how can we use TikTok. Renaissance doesn't have a TikTok yet, but I could see where it would be cool to have it, because you could do I can visualize how we could use it, but it would be great to have somebody who's just, a little more up on that technology than I am to help us with that sort of thing. You can always reach out to us through our website, or, if you come to a show and see us, you'll see board members around. Anybody who's in the box office can point you to somebody. We're always looking for that sort of thing. And as I said, board members, we are a working board. Our board is comprised of people. One of our board members, Sarah Mandel, she designs all of our posters. She's been working, just took over taking on programs. We have, Sally Tyree is another one of our board members. She handles the house. So she's like the house manager. She handles the volunteers for ushers. She's our secretary of our board, so she keeps all our minutes. We are switching our ticketing platform. We used to use eText, but we're going to a new ticketing platform. So we are learning now how to set up for our next show, and it's going to be, I think it's BookTix is the name of it. And so it's a different ticketing platform. We think it'll be an easier platform for our patrons to use, a little more friendly than maybe the previous one was. And so, but we're learning it now. So somebody who could manage that, I got a laundry list, because I could go. I could use a website manager. I mean, we are 5-6 people on the board. We do everything of the business.
Okay.
So our treasurer, Deneen Seyfried, she keeps track of everything. Because, when you're a nonprofit, you got to track all those pennies. You got to make sure everything's accounted for, and who got what money for what and why. And she is doing such a fabulous job with that. So, somebody who can keep up with all that stuff. Again, Miss Deneen came on I believe she came on the board in 2021. It was 2020 or 2021. I'm not exactly sure if it was the end of 2020 and the first 20. Anyway, she's got 4 years, and she can't be on the board anymore. Mm-hmm. Or she has to take a year off before she can be back on the board. So we got to have new people to replace us.
Right.
Or this is not going to last. So if you are interested in helping keep this institution of a theater alive and growing towards the future, and you want to talk to the board, and you're interested in what you can bring to the board, what we're trying to do is bring people on who could take on a different aspect. So like if I'm managing marketing and being the president and doing costumes, and you come in and you go, I could handle marketing for you. oh, I would love you so much. Please come. And, that kind of thing. Or, somebody could come in and say, I can manage your website for you. So that the lady who's been managing our website, she was managing programs, website, and box office. And now she's still managing and our emails, our email blasts. So she was doing all that stuff. So we've taken a little bit off of her plate because she used to be on the board and she had to come off because she'd been on for more than 4 years. So, people, life happens, and then you're volunteering. So you're not even being paid for this. And then you've got life that happens, and that gets in the way of being able to volunteer. And so you got to be able to have those constantly rotating people who know what to do. And so you can spread it out and you don't burn people out. Because that's what happens too. You end up with 3 or 4 people who do everything because they love it. And then everybody loves and wants to have this thing continue, but they don't realize how much work is going into it. And then it goes away and then everybody goes, well, what happened? It's gone. Oh, no. Well, because you need to help grow the baby and keep feeding it, or, it doesn't keep going by itself.
Right.
So, yeah. Come and talk to us, because we've put a lot into keeping Renaissance alive in the last 2 years. And at a certain point, we're going to have to rotate off, and there need to be new people to want to keep it going too. So we're hoping to see those people show up and raise a hand, because it's a great theater. We've got a lot of really good things happening, and folks are really enjoying what we're doing. We are hearing nothing but good things. People are like, that's why Jim came to us to do Kiss Me Kate, because he was so pleased with what we managed to accomplish in 2020.
Right.
So, that was, and, people are looking at that and going, look at what they accomplished. We can keep that going. We just need more. We just need people to want to see it continue, to come in and keep us from not being so tired.
Now, for your upcoming shows that you have, the 10 Women, I'm sure you've already cast that.
Yes, that is in rehearsal right now. And it comes, as I said, it opens April 15th and runs through, it's the weekends. We run it on the weekends. So it's Friday, Saturday, and then the next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Friday, Saturday. So it's 3 weekends, and you'll have those opportunities to see it. And that's a brand new script. Well, it's not. It's new. It's probably not a show you've heard of. But an interesting thing is, I'm not sure where the high school was that did it, but a high school won the state competition for theater with a one-act version of this script.
Okay.
So it's a really good story. Sean Grennan wrote it. He wrote our first show that we ever did at Miller Center called Couples last year, which was our premiere show at Miller Center. And that was a fun show because that show had been written by him that year to be done by Zoom for COVID. And it wasn't about COVID. It was about a therapist who did couples therapy via Zoom because she thought the people would be more open to talking if they weren't in the same room together.
Right.
Which was true. And so it had not been written to be done on stage. And I contacted Sean Grennan and spoke to him, and he was just wonderful. And he said, yeah, try it. Go ahead. And so it was our backup plan. We went to do it on stage, but if COVID had been too bad to allow for a public performance, we could do it on Zoom. That was kind of our idea. And we ended up being able to do it live on stage. So we were the first theater ever to do it live on stage. That was so cool. And it came out really well. It was actually a shame that we had to have a very limited amount of people. We only allowed 40 people because of, restrictions at that time. But that show, I believe we pretty much sold that show out. And that was just a really cool experience. And so we found the script by the same author, and we were like, hey, and he was like, yeah, hey, here you go. So it was fun. And it's got such a good story about dealing with that organ donation and how it affects people. And it's a quiet thing. You don't hear about that much here in Lynchburg, right? But one of our board members' son actually was an organ donor. And so it was very close to her. And then we read it and we were like, oh yeah, we got to do this. And so Caleb Towns has this great vision for it, and we're really excited to see what he does. So that's coming up. And then in late April, on a Monday, Tuesday, we'll be auditioning for Anne.
Okay.
And I'm going to be directing Anne. I'm a dual citizen. I'm American and Canadian. And so I know Anne inside out, sideways, and backwards. I've got relatives on Prince Edward Island. I've been to her house, so it's like, yes, come audition for Anne, because it should be fun. And then, of course, in the fall, we'll be doing a crazy show called It Came from Mars. And that's about a radio station that's kind of a down and out radio station. And they're having their dramas with their quirky cast of people that are there. And it's the night of the Orson Welles Martian broadcast. And so they all think they're going to die by the morning, and the shenanigans that ensue. It's just one of those just slapdash raucous comedies. And that our audiences love. We seem to do very, very well with the comedies and with those kind of really crazy comedies. Mm-hmm. So we always want to have that in there for our audience that likes that. And this is that show. It's that kind of a comedy. And then of course, Step on a Crack. That's a cool little show. It's got an opportunity for somebody who plays about an 11-year-old girl. So you've got that age. And she has two imaginary friends that could be any age. So there's, if the right kids, young adult people show up to be in it, they could be the imaginary friends in that. And so her imaginary friends and the voice, which is a character, the voice inside her head that talks to her about stuff, are characters in the play. And then there's her dad and her new stepmom. And it's all from her perspective, because dad meets this new lady while she's away at summer camp after they've been to, her mom died when she was 4 and she's 11 now, living perfectly happily with dad, eating TV dinners, going bowling, getting junk out the junkyard. And this lady shows up that he met while she was at summer camp, and now he's married. Oh my gosh. So it's a really neat show, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that show in the fall for the family. And it's fun too. Most of our shows that we've been picking, because it's been a rough couple of years for everybody. So we've been just purposefully choosing shows that maybe they have kind of deep subjects in them, but at the end of the show, every show you're going to walk out with like, oh, that was neat. Nothing beating you over the head with drama. I mean, dramas are great, but everything that we've picked, we want people to be able to walk out with an uplifted feeling or a feeling of that was nice, and we're trying to kind of bring people up.
What is the best way for someone listening or someone that wants to audition for any of the upcoming 3 shows? What's the best way for them to kind of keep up to date with when those casting times are or dates are?
Sure. Go to our website, again, renaissancetheaterlynchburg.org, and that's theater RE. So it's THEATRE when you're spelling it the English way. And you go to renaissancetheaterlynchburg.org, and you can see tabs at the top, and there's contact, and there's auditions, and there's how to help. You can sponsor. There's a page that tells you how you can sponsor or buy ads in our program. That's always a way to help too. Buy an ad. That's always and ads aren't really expensive in our programs, so you can buying an ad or it gives us just that extra money that helps maybe buy those extra things that we need for a show, kind of a thing. And there's you can join our volunteer list, you can get on our contact list, and then we send out emails. So whenever there's an audition upcoming, if you're on our email list, you'll get an email in time to be able to plan for that audition. You can also go to our auditions page, which shows the upcoming auditions. Okay. And if you go to our season page shows all the shows that are coming, and it also has the audition information in the description of that show. So if you're looking at Anne of Green Gables and you go to our season page right now, you can go to that, look at Anne, see what the story's about, and see when the auditions are.
Well, I am definitely attending Anne of Green Gables because that is like my childhood. I love that book. I loved the show. Like when it came out, was her name Megan?
Megan Follows.
Yes, Megan Follows. She was fabulous, and so I'm excited for that one.
Well, and Netflix has kind of a more updated version. It's not traditional Anne, but it's called Anne with an E.
Yes.
And if you're interested in that, you can find that on Netflix. I don't know. It's a little harder to find the one that we're referencing, right? Megan Follows, because that's way back. That's a little back in the day. It was there were several versions because it grew up with Anne.
Yes.
Followed through several of the books. But every young girl I knew read Anne of Green Gables when I was younger, and it's just such a great story.
I'm not gonna lie, I still read it every now and then. I do. I love it.
I've been reading the script, so and you know what I loved about this particular script is that it doesn't. If you're very familiar with Anne, there's a few things that are not going to be in this play because you just can't get everything in.
Right.
But I really like this adaptation because it hits the high points of the some of the bigger events in the books, and it ends on a note that is, it from the moment she's brought in and goes to Green Gables for the first time and meets Matthew and Marilla, goes through schooling, and it kind of ends right as her schooling ends and what she's going to do from there. And it's just that it ends on a sweet moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more to the story still, but the moment they chose to end it was, there's more. And if you want to know more, you can go find the books and read it.
Yes.
So that's what's good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show with me today.
Thanks for having me.
For anyone listening, I'm going to have you tell one more time, how can they get tickets for Kiss Me Kate this weekend?
Go to RenaissanceTheaterLynchburg.org. The opening page should have a direct box office link to the tickets. Or you can go to the academycenter.org. It's not the. Let me say that correctly. academycenter.org. That would be the Academy's website, and you can find tickets there. Or you can call the Academy box office at 434-846-8499. Again, this is one weekend only, 4 performances only. And if you want to be able to see community theater be able to be on the stage at the Academy, we really need to fill those seats.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big place. It's a big show. There's a lot involved with this show. You really want to come see it because there's a lot of talented people. And if you want to support community theater to be able to be at the Academy, we need to be able to fill the seats at the Academy, or a community theater just can't afford to be there. So come see it. You don't want to miss it. And it's one weekend only. So come see us.
So get your tickets to see Kiss Me Kate by the Renaissance Theater in partnership with the Academy Center of the Arts. And again, go to their website, check out the shows they'll have coming up throughout the year, support your community theater. And thank you for joining us on Talk Local to Me today. And we will see you next Wednesday. I was going to say weekend, but I'm not going to see them this weekend.